Hello. I'm sure I don't have to start trawling through the internet to convince most of the viewers of this channel that we have a social problem here in the UK. Well, not a social problem actually, but two, or even three if you want to break one of them up into two halves. The urban working class and the people in the small country villages, whatever their class or educational attainments. And the problem is this: those two groups which I've just mentioned, the urban working class and the ruralists, I've just made that word up by the way, have a real problem with the urban middle classes and the political establishment. And this problem, the rift between these two groups, is getting wider and wider. And I'm starting to wonder if this is not just an accident, if it's by design. Now, I don't have any proof of this. I'm just going on what I know about history and my talent for seeing patterns. That's all, and it may be dead wrong. But I'll tell you all about my theory after I've told you that I'm granniopteryx. Please like this video, please share it, and please subscribe. I'm always grateful for financial assistance, of course, and you'll find ways to help me and my beloved horses in the description, where all the methods are listed: PayPal, Subscribestar, Buy Me a Coffee, and for YouTube, there's also Superthanks. Right, let's get on with the fragmentation of British society and the possibility that what started out as incompetence might now be turning into a strategy of control. You see, anyone with any sense knows that the migrant invasion is not sustainable. We also know that the chaos on our streets is not coming only from the Muslim subgroups in the towns and their antagonists, the urban working classes. We also have those pro-Palestine marches taking over whole areas of the city every week. And they have really, honestly, very little to do with people of huge social conscience worried about suffering Gazans. If that were the case, they'd be out there demonstrating for free Kurdistan, for instance, or even free Sueda. The news coming out of Sueda is truly heartbreaking, but they're not even bothered by that. And neither of those places even figures in the universe of, as I say, those vast demos which take over our towns every week. The fact is that those parades, demos, riots, whatever you want to call them, are being held by groups of people captured by the Islamo-left. And in both cases, whether the individuals in these demos know that or not, the Islamo-left both have the purpose of breaking down British society in order to remake it. This strange virus has overtaken our most sensitive unions as well, the teachers' unions, who constantly threaten strikes, which of course disrupts the economy. The medical unions, who constantly threaten strikes, which disrupts our medical services. The universities, who are educating young people into this Islamo-leftist, well, I don't know whether you can call it a philosophy, but you know what I mean. At the moment, the government thinks it can control all of this, one way or the other, by bunging extra salaries to the medical unions, or by not antagonising the parades, demos or riots or whatever you want to call them, not policing them harshly, whereas it polices the working class parades very harshly. They think they can keep a balance that way, but they can't. At the moment, that's not too obvious, but it will be obvious as it gets worse. Then there's the problem of the urban working classes I was just talking about, and the ruralists. The working classes often live in areas of towns where they are sharing the space with the least literate and the most indoctrinated of Muslim populations. I'm referring to Pakistanis from the contested borderlands between India and Pakistan, known as Azad Kashmir. And there are also migrant hostels in such areas, increasing the feeling of the indigenous Brits that they're under siege. And then there are the ruralists. They have very little voting power because of the widespread of the rural population, and they often live in quiet areas where local hotels that used to provide an economic benefit to the local people, you know, the bakers, the cleaners, the gardeners, that sort of thing, and the general grocers and providers, those hotels are now taken over by migrant men, mostly men, who often are genuinely a danger to the local population, especially, of course, the women and girls. In both cases, that is the urban working classes and the ruralists, there are also feelings of resentment about the provision of life's luxuries for these migrants. Mobile phones, for instance, and in-house medical attention. When mobile phones are so expensive and you can wait 3 weeks for a doctor's appointment. And you have to go to the surgery as well. You don't get the doctor coming to you. Set against these people are the middle and upper classes, who are usually not too badly affected by the migrant crisis, since they live in unaffected areas. Neither are they too badly affected by the bad behaviour of a certain type of Muslim, because the Muslims who live in the nice middle class areas are usually themselves educated enough to behave properly, even if some of them do harbour rather less friendly opinions of non-Muslims than most of us would like to imagine. But that's another matter. So, okay, I've outlined the social situation. Let's get another picture. What might the plan be? Well, how about this? The situation is getting worse and worse. The social contract, whereby we observe the law and pay our taxes in return for benefits such as medical attention and old age pensions, we can see all that slipping away. And when it gets to a sort of breaking point, when the population starts to feel it's been cheated and bullied and gaslit, then it might turn to the government and say, we want order. We want stability. We don't care if you impose martial law and a police state. Just restore order. That's a possibility when things get really bad. People will be asking for more repressive government, because in the short term, that's the only answer they can see. Let's just talk about Italy in the beginning of the 20th century. It had a weak government, which was split into fragmented coalitions. It was beset by socialist ferment. It was hit by one strike after the other. Does this sound familiar? The various areas of Italy were worlds apart economically and socially. Does that sound familiar? And the people cried out for some sort of stability and order. And into that stepped Benito Mussolini, who outlawed labour strikes, made sure that all news media followed the party line, established a secret police which arrested and assassinated dissidents, banned opposition parties and controlled the political institutions. The people were so tired of the previous chaos, they demanded it. And they accepted it. And the trains ran on time. And Mussolini's government held on to power from 1922 to 1943. And that makes me think that that might be at the backs of the minds of the people who are running our country now. When the chaos gets bad enough, the people will do anything to restore peace and quiet. Now, I know that sounds very conspiratorial, but when you see what's going on with this tension between the different classes and groups of our society, you have to wonder if this is just incompetence or some sort of planning. I'd like to think it's incompetence, but, well, we can never be entirely sure, can we? And even if it is just incompetence, it's going to lead in the same direction. Okay, till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.